Welcome to today's episode. I am thrilled to introduce Fabian Bogun, a powerhouse in helping creators build profitable, purpose driven businesses. Fabian's journey is remarkable. He transformed his experience of hitting rock bottom after making 27,000 cold calls into a successful career where he now supports creators in crafting businesses that resonate with their purpose. With over 4 happy clients served, Fabian is here to share his insights and strategies that turn cold calls into warm, meaningful connections. Fabian, you have had quite a journey from making 27,000 cold calls to now helping creators build purpose driven businesses. Can you share more about that transition and what inspired you to make it?
Actually, it was September of 2022, and the first thing I came across was SMMA, so running a social media marketing agency. And yeah, I went for it. I bought a course and I spent $1,000 on a course, and from that point onwards, I just really, struggled, but I was trying to build something, right? And long story short, I spent a year. I started outreach for my agency in January of 2023, and then for that whole year, I kind of just struggled because I did actually signed my first few SMMA clients in September of 2023, but then I struggled to scale and
Yeah, I
deliver for those
basically I
clients.
also tried a similar thing with a website development agency, and it was the same issue that I was able to get 2-3 clients, but after that it was very hard to scale.
There you go. See, and that was a huge lesson for me, right? Because I realized that it's not enough to desire something to work. You need to design it to work. And my agency was not designed to work because I was not following my purpose and I was in a red ocean, right? Now, that does not mean to say that you can't build something in, a saturated place, right? You can still stand out, right? But I wasn't in my flow and I didn't have enough experience to kind of build something of real value. So I quit in January, at the end of January and beginning of February, I started building on it. And since then, it's been my mission to share my story and inspire people also to follow their purpose rather than just doing, meaningless work, and instead do something that really fires them up and drives them to create change in the world and make profit doing so.
Hitting rock bottom after such an intense effort must have been challenging. How did you bounce back and find your current path?
Lying on the grass, and I fell asleep on the grass after doing a run. And the funny thing is, I didn't fall asleep because of the run itself. I myself was overrun. I was running myself into the ground because I was waking up at 6 a.m. every day and then doing hours of work and then just standing and cold calling for seriously 8 hours a day, doing hundreds of cold calls a day. Hundreds, sorry. And yeah, I was just doing, monotonous, meaningless work, just super repetitive. And I ended up really being in a dark place, you could say, where I felt like each day I was walking through a dark tunnel with no light at the end. I know this might seem kind of like, depressing and sad, but I'm just telling you how it is.
No, it
right?
happens. Like I have also been on the similar journey many times. Like I have failed a lot of times already. Like I tried a clothing brand, I tried this agency, I tried selling Notion templates, and now I'm trying to become a creator. Let's see how that goes. So I think that's just how like it happens with everyone. I think at some point in their life.
And honestly, in my opinion, as much as we often look back at those times and we kind of regret them, like I was following the wrong thing, actually those, that hardship, it creates a story that inspires. Like it allows us to inspire people because we've gone through hardship and now we have a reason for doing what we're doing, right? There's many people who you could actually say have not been blessed with such hardship because, they're just doing something because they've just, chosen to do it, or they've been told to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like my agency, I was kind of told this is the best thing to do, go do this, like by a guru,
Yeah.
But now, since I've gone through my hardship, I have something I truly believe in strongly, and that's how we can inspire people.
Yeah,
So
same thing has
huge
happened with
respect
me.
to you
Yeah.
as well, man. Yeah.
You focus on building profitable, purpose-driven businesses for creators. What does a purpose-driven business mean to you, and why is it important?
So the reason I believe it's important is because most creators start with what they do, right? I'm not sure if you've ever read the book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I do see you have
I've read that book. Yeah, yeah, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People as well. Yeah,
yeah, I see you have it in the background. Yeah, so that's
yeah,
incredible. I actually have listened to the audiobook. I do need to get the physical copy though. But yes, Start With Why really ultimately inspired me to develop my beliefs around this, right? And I actually came up with my own framework because Simon Sinek has has his own kind of, he calls it the golden circle, where it's why, who, what, right?
Yeah.
And he explains that most businesses start with what they do, but then they end up fighting over price, and they end up becoming a commodity, right? Because it's very easy to tell people what you do and try and convince people that how you're better, right? But stats and figures and like benefits and features, they don't move us as humans, because we
Yeah.
buy based on emotion and justify with logic, right? And by telling someone what you do, that's very logical stuff. Like you're just listing all
Yeah.
like the features and benefits and so on. But when we start with why, like a strong belief, that's how we can turn people into fans who want to buy from you, right? And people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want,
Yeah.
right? So when you start with why, you actually gather those loyal followers or fans, in other words, who want to buy from you, like no matter what. Like there are people, let's say, can't think of an example because Alex Hermosi, he has a good
Yeah.
reputation, but he doesn't really sell to the average
Like
person. But
Dan
if he
as well.
did,
Yeah.
oh, never mind, he does because he has a book, right? So actually, if Alex Hermosi said, guys, I'm releasing a book tomorrow, I'm not going to tell you how much it costs, I'm not going to tell you the name of it, even though people already know what the next book is going to be. If they didn't, they would still buy it because they believe in what he does. They believe in his
Yeah.
mission of delivering education to the masses at a low cost, right? They believe.
Yeah.
And that's the key. The key is not to sell to people who want what you have, but to sell to people who believe what you believe.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the backstory there, but that's why I start with purpose ultimately. And by purpose, it doesn't have to be purpose, because purpose is kind of like a philosophical word to many people, like a spiritual thing. But it can be your purpose, it can be a cause, it can be a belief, right? So for example, I have my new client or mentee. He strongly believes in leadership, right? That doesn't mean his sole and all-encompassing purpose in life is to be a leader. Maybe it is, but he has a strong belief, and that is that you should like inspire people through leadership. And on X, it's a game of building an account by attracting followers. And if you want followers, be a leader, right? So he's kind of sharing this message with people, and he's trying to teach people how to become better leaders. And that's why I believe in starting with why, your purpose, cause, or belief.
Can you walk us through the process of how you help your clients? What are the key steps or strategies you use to guide them towards success?
I'm glad you asked, because funnily enough, I mentioned Simon Sinek's golden circle, but then didn't even dive into my own.
Yeah.
So I don't quite have a golden circle, but I do have what I call the triple W framework. Okay. And how it looks is we start with why, then we ask who, then we move on to what, right? So once again, I've just run you through the why, right? That's all essentially getting clear on your purpose, cause, or beliefs, so you can inspire people to want to be a part of your tribe, to be a part of your movement, to want to buy from you, right? Because the thing is, it's emotions that drive us to buy, right? There was an experiment done where I just read, actually, Never Split the Difference. People who struggle to make decisions, I think they had problems with the emotional part of their brain, or the part of their brain that, which is actually the reptile part of the brain. I'm not going to go into that. But essentially, we make decisions based on emotion. Let's just say that, right?
Yeah.
So we start with why, and we attract people who believe what you believe. That's one. Number two is the who, right? Because to be able to attract anyone, you have to know who you want to attract,
Yeah.
right? So stage one of this is to get clear on our dream client and who they are, right?
Yeah.
Which includes understanding their dreams, their pains, their beliefs, their fears, their like all their obstacles. And there's a difference between symptoms and problems. So that's another thing to understand about them. And then after that, once we know who we want to attract, we essentially build and target our audience to those people. So what this means is we create content with that person in
Relatable
mind.
yeah. Basically,
There you go.
exactly. Yeah. Exactly outlining their age, whatever what they like to do, and all of that.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
There you go. And the last step in this process is the what, right? So the why is why are you here? The who is your dream client? And the what is what outcome will you offer them? So that's just your offer,
Yeah.
in short, right? So first of all, we want to actually, since we now understand their problems and their pains, we turn all these problems and pains into a valuable solution for them, right? Once we have this solution, we package it up as an offer, right? A clear offer. I know many people say irresistible or grand slam, and I do believe in, piling up the value, but it's important and crucial to be clear rather than clever. It's something I've learned. Then after that, we need demand, right? Because the truth is, it's not enough to impose scarcity and say, look, I have 5 spots if no one even wants your spot.
Yeah.
So you need to have demand in the first, right? And we use something called demand and supply tension transparency, where we're essentially transparent and we get people to signal their interest to us, and then we can tell people, hey, look, I mean, there's 30 people who sign up to this wait list, and I have 5 spots, right? And that's just being transparent.
Yeah.
But most creators fail to do that, and they rely on scarcity and saying, look, I have 5 spots, and they're kind of like seeing sushi, but people don't believe that in that anymore, sorry, because everyone does it, right? And then
Yeah.
the last part of that is the delivery, right? Remarkable service moves mountains, and it's the only marketing thing you'll ever need.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more thing, nothing scales like word of mouth, and that's why you need a remarkable service.
Yeah, I think it's the best form of marketing, the word of mouth. Yeah.
Exactly.
What common challenges do your clients face, and how do you help them overcome these obstacles?
So it's funny actually, because in my dream client workspace that I've created for my clients, I have them actually gave their dream client a name, right? And this is something I learned from a book called Copywriting Secrets. And the reason is if you give them a name,
Yeah, I've read
whenever
that
you're
book
writing,
also. Yeah.
oh, you have.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Whenever you must be quite well read, are you?
Yeah, I've like read 20 books on entrepreneurship.
I love that, man. I also love reading. I have a few back there,
Yeah.
but I still
Yeah, like
always
I just read audiobooks. Like I have
oh,
this
you do.
physical copy of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but I have just read the audiobook. I just listen to the audiobooks. Yeah.
I love that. I do that sometimes also.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have people as well, when you give a name to your dream clients or you just name them, whenever you're writing a message, so you're copywriting or you're creating posts, you can have the person in mind. Like it's easier to have them in mind and kind of remind yourself of everything about them, right?
Yeah.
So I find usually that if you dig really like deep down, well, my clients, the kind of people who I work with, their goals are to, build a profitable, sustainable business. And more specifically, they want to make 5 or 10K per month so they can have financial freedom, right? Essentially, they want to provide for their loved ones. They want to inspire and help people, but all in all, they want to make 10K per month, right? The thing is, if you really dig deep down, people don't just want 10K per month, right? What
They
they
want
really
freedom.
want
Yeah.
is status,
Oh, yeah.
love, and fulfillment. So I would say that 10K per month is like the surface level goal, and then freedom is the one below that. But even further below that is love, fulfillment, status,
Yeah.
right? It's true. We don't even realize this. It's subconscious. But many of the things we do, we base our decisions on whether that thing will increase our status or not, right? As much as we may not want to believe that. So the pains that my clients face in getting there is essentially that they're essentially frustrated that they can't build a brand that will help them achieve those goals, right? They lack clarity and they lack fulfillment and meaning in their work, like I did, right? And they want to build a meaningful business that not only provides them purpose-driven profit, as I call it,
Yeah.
but also, helps people and makes an impact. And essentially, they're struggling to do so just because they can't find their voice on X, for example, like one of their
Yeah. Yeah.
or symptoms. It's a symptom of a problem, right? Which is something that I face. And something I also believe in is helping people solve problems that you've solved for yourself. I think is the best way to start online business. And as an entrepreneur, just take a problem you've solved for yourself and help others solve it. Solve it, sorry. And that's how I started on here, on X, mentoring.
Yeah, I think it's the best way. Like it becomes so relatable. You feel like they are your own younger self. Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you determine the pricing for your services? What factors do you consider to ensure it aligns with the value you provide?
Question. By the way, whenever I answer a question for you and you think I potentially didn't go deep enough or I didn't cover anything well enough, just let me know. Honestly.
Yeah, sure.
So how do I determine pricing? So
Yeah.
when I started on mentoring, I started really low ticket, and even before that, actually, I started for free. Right? I actually put a post up on both X and even Instagram saying, "Hey, look, I'm taking on 5 people to give these people to give you guidance and mentorship in mindset, fitness, nutrition, life optimization, goal pursuit, and purpose, and all these things." And yes, I started for free because I do believe in starting for free and getting results. So you can gather up some testimonials, right?
Yeah.
And then just slowly increase your prices. So I actually started from just $20, right? What's really $20? And the reason I did that is because I read the book called The Personalized Millionaire Master Plan by Roger James Hamilton. And it talks about how one time he was struggling to make money and increase his income. And a great mentor of his once told him that the problem is that he's not trying to get better, he's trying to chase success, right? He's trying to make his, next million instead of just trying to reach his next milestone, right?
Yeah.
And that taught me a huge lesson, and that's that he lays out that you can make 100K per month, which across the span of a year is $1 million, right? By first making $100 and then just doubling 10 times, right? So 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600, and so on. So I took on 5 clients for $20 each, which was my first $100, right? And then I just kept on doubling my prices since then. And essentially, that's how I base my pricing. I increase my prices as I gain more credibility, wisdom, experience, and I have better systems.
I think
And
that's
then
the
I
best
just
way
keep
to grow.
stacking
Yeah,
value.
I think a lot of people
Yes,
get in this in freelancing. Also, I've seen that people
yes,
don't even want to give the service for the less price. Like they just try to sell it
hmm
at a higher price, and that's why they don't
yes,
get clients. Yeah,
exactly.
in starting you have to start from a lower price. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the bigger mistakes I also made with SMMA. My old coaches, they said, never do work for free or never even like
Yeah, yeah.
free trial or anything. Just, start with $500 or $1,000 or so
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Which, yes, I do believe that, a high ticket service is great. Like, don't undervalue yourself, right? But to get results, I do believe in just humbling yourself and just getting rid of your ego, right? And just getting results for people. Because the
Yeah.
thing is, confidence doesn't come necessarily just from affirmations, from manifestation. It comes from results.
Yeah.
And the way you get results is by taking action, right?
What drives you in your work? What keeps you motivated and passionate about helping others build their businesses?
Wonderful question. So I believe there's three layers to my mission or goal pursuit on this earth, right? And what started simply as a challenge to provide for my parents and help them by essentially, well, just providing for them, but eventually retiring them, right? That's the goal for any younger kid that's doing online business, or most at least, right?
Yeah.
But ever since that, it's actually developed and evolved into not just providing for my parents, but also to inspire the world and to provide for people all over the world, right?
Yeah.
I feel a deep sense of fulfillment and meaning and just pure joy whenever I see someone smile when I can help them, right?
Yeah.
And like that does not have to be, I don't know, something specific. Like this can be either a client and me changing their life and helping them. It can also be an older woman on the street who I just help cross the road, right?
Yeah.
Or it can be someone who I just bought coffee for because they're homeless at the moment or something. I'm deeply driven by not only living an incredible life myself, but also providing for my loved ones, and then
Yeah.
after that, inspiring the rest and leading the way for anyone who is inspired.
Yeah.
How do you handle setbacks and maintain your focus on your goals?
Question. I used to struggle a lot with setbacks and lack of clarity, and the reason was I believe that I wasn't partly because I wasn't following my purpose. Right? I believe that just about all suffering in life stems from not following one's life purpose.
Yeah.
And when I was running my agency, I needed loads of mindset advice and help from mentors, right? Because the thing is, it was so unpredictable, and I tied my happiness and my sense of success for the day to numbers, right? For example, let's say I did 500 cold calls. If I booked at least 5 meetings, that was a success, right? And if
Yeah.
I had a show rate of at least 3 or 4, once again, that's a success. But the problem is each day was not like that, right? I had terrible days where no one showed up. I booked 5 meetings and no one showed up. From eight
Yeah.
hours of work and cold calling, no one showed up, right? And I would have really just strong feelings of maybe not guilt, but really frustration and just, I was really driven to make things work and they just weren't working. That kind of feeling where you're really just you feel hopeless, right? That's the best way to do it, probably. So that's why I believe in following your purpose, because ever since then, I've known that I'm on the right path, right? And I've never really been moved or like I've never considered even giving up from setbacks, from building my brand and inspiring people, because I'm following my purpose. And I
Yeah.
know that sooner or later I will succeed. Because if you do not quit, you cannot lose, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I believe if you just walk along this path that you know you're set to walk, you will succeed eventually, right?
Yeah. Like if
However,
you never give up, how will you even lose? Yeah.
there you go, man. Exactly. But I will add something there because, as much as following your purpose is, I believe a foundation, right? You're always going to face difficulties and challenges,
Yeah.
right? So the more I progress in my journey, the more I believe in flow and finding your flow. And so whenever I face a step back, I either just try to solve the problem, or if I can't, I take a step back from the problem and let my subconscious mind actually come up with a solution. Because
Yeah.
we don't realize this, but our subconscious mind is super powerful, and
Yeah.
we naturally are great at recognizing patterns, right? And solving problems is just recognizing patterns,
Yeah.
right? Like you remember, okay, I did this in the past for this thing, and also this, and you put them together as a new solution. Right?
Yeah.
You're noticing patterns. And the thing is, whenever I go for a walk, I almost realize, wow, that's it. That's the solution, right? And it's
Yeah.
weird, but it just comes to you. And that's why we
Yeah,
get our
I
best
think
ideas.
because the subconscious mind keeps thinking about that problem. Like even if you are
Exactly.
not thinking, yeah, yeah.
Yes, we subconsciously loop on
How?
things that we've seen or learned, and like we don't even realize this, but we keep thinking about this. And that's why I believe in removing distractions from your life, such as, this thing here, I
Entertainment.
keep it
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
yeah, airplane mode in the morning, and I have like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, all these things deleted. I just, the notifications motivations are human, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I am really going through difficult times, which I will say thankfully I'm not anymore, my first step is to remove all mental clutter, right? So I take a step, I go outside and I look around and I remember that if you zoom out far enough, really you can't even see the earth, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, once I have mental clarity, I get like once again clear on my mission, my vision and purpose. So my vision for the future, right? To regain clarity. And then from there, I move on to my goals and then my plan and my system, right? So I take incremental steps. Instead of getting lost in the details, I take a step back from the details and look at the broad and bigger picture. And just to finish this off really quickly, I have a chart which, you know, I'm not going to pull up my screen or anything. But the thing is, we don't realize this, but day to day, our progress looks like this, right?
Yeah. I've seen that
And
chat.
yeah, so in my agency, whenever I had like a success, like a book 5 meetings, and then like a low period because I had no people show up, I would be really frustrated, right? But now that I don't attach my happiness to these things I can't control, like how many people show up, I'm able to zoom out and I can see that although my days look like this, across the span of a year or a decade, it's going like this, but it's going up over time.
Yeah.
Right? Our results are exponential, but day to day they fluctuate.
Yeah.
And that's what gets us frustrated because we're not robots, we're emotional.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about detaching from the outcome.
I think sometimes you have to depend on the discipline to do the work.
Discipline. Yeah. I do agree in that motivation is not super
Yeah.
reliable, and as much as I believe in finding your flow,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
also believe in having the discipline to step forward and do the work because
Yeah.
quite often when we can't be bothered to do something, if we just tell ourselves, I'll do this for 10 minutes, by the time the
Yeah.
10 minutes is over, we're entering flow and we
Yeah,
don't even want to stop anymore.
Yeah, that has worked very well for me. Like always, when I'm not in the mood to work, I just start working anyways.
I love to hear it, man.
What are your thoughts on entrepreneurial figures like Elon Musk? Do they inspire you? And how do their approaches influence your work?
So I wish I could say that figures like Elon Musk have really inspired me, but they've not so much. And the reason is because growing up as a kid, I never really had big dreams or goals to become an entrepreneur. I didn't see myself as like a business person. Like business seemed like this kind of, I'm not even sure what words to use here, but it seemed like it was reserved for special like entrepreneurial people, right? But now I realize that business is for everyone, and
Yeah.
that business is incredible because you can build your own thing, something that you believe in, right? And I actually do want to read biographies of like Steve Jobs, for example, more so than Elon Musk personally.
Yeah, I've
But
read the Elon Musk biography by Walter Isaac.
yes, you have. Oh, wow. Yeah, and I also want to read Walter Isaacson, I think is the name.
Yeah.
Isaacson biography on Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, I started that one, but I have not completed it yet. I recently started it. Yeah.
I love to hear it, man. And so, yeah, so what has actually inspired me is there's been, I would say, two kind of like different figures or groups of people. And the first is the people who first inspired me to start online business were just YouTubers like Iman Ghazi, Alex Hormozi, Hamza, like all these kind of people, right? They inspired me to just start trying to do some kind of online business and create one because they first broke my beliefs about whether it was possible for me to do that. And I realized it was, right? Since then, I've been more so inspired by figures like Leonardo da Vinci, Steve Jobs, and even fables like from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the fable of the animal school, right? And that really showed me the irony of the traditional school system. And ultimately, I've just been inspired also by Robert Greene and his books.
Do you think we are living in a simulation? How does this philosophical question, if at all, impact your perspective on building purpose-driven businesses?
I have watched the movie Matrix, first of all.
Yeah.
And it's
I've also watched it. Yeah.
certainly an interesting movie.
Yeah.
Now, regarding this whole subject of, the Matrix and so on, although I do believe we are kind of conditioned to, follow this traditional system, I've not gotten too deep into, these topics of like a simulation per se, because I believe in kind of trying to control what you can't control, right? And right now, what is in my control is removing distractions to build a better life for myself and have freedom, right?
Yeah.
I believe that generally the Matrix is in our mind, right? The people who, complain about the Matrix are the same people who aren't taking action to escape that very thing that they think they're stuck in, right? They have the power to do so, fortunately still, and because it's in their power, I think it's best to just focus on what you can focus on, control, which is to show up and do the work each day and, ultimately improve your life and improve the life of your loved ones and everyone around you,
With the rapid advancements in AI, what impact do you foresee on the way businesses are built and managed? Will AI replace some aspect of your work, or enhance it?
So AI is replacing many jobs, but the
Yeah.
creator economy, I believe, is here to
Yeah.
stay because the
Yeah.
thing is,
Yeah. I think because of the human connection.
yes, there you go. And let's think about that for a second. So
Yeah. Yeah.
connection, what does that mean, right? That's all about emotional intelligence, right? Emotion. And AI,
Consciousness. Yeah.
yes,
AI is not conscious. Yeah.
yeah, AI has no emotional intelligence, right? So
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
long as you're someone who provides essentially like a sense of connection, for example, community, or you educate people in like a unique way, even Dan Co agrees with this. Dan
Yeah.
Co
Yeah.
says that the future believes in, sorry, the future belongs to creators who pursue their purpose, interest, and curiosity, right? And that's why I deeply value and have been super interested lately in people and figures who have really just followed their curiosity in the past, like Leonardo da Vinci, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the way to really make yourself of value to the world, right? When you delve into your curiosities, then you can share, interesting, valuable insights to your followers on X, for example, and actually stand
Yeah.
out instead of hearing regurgitated advice, right? But regarding AI itself, I believe that it's a tool, right?
Yeah.
It will not replace you as long as you use it and you don't let it use you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Danko also said, and I'm not sure I believe with this, but this is a harsh statement, but Danko says that the people who are going to be replaced by AI deserve to be replaced, right? I'm not sure, once again, if it's kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
cruel, potentially,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what he's saying there is that, you have the power to take action and kind of make
Yeah.
yourself of value to
I
the
also
world.
kind of believe the same. Yeah. Like I agree with it.
Yeah, so I think AI obviously AI is going to keep developing and improving. But that's why we
Yeah.
should learn how to use AI properly and how to be of value, where
Yeah.
you build a future-proof evergreen business that will not be replaced by AI.
What is your current monthly recurring revenue?
What is your current monthly recurring revenue, if you are comfortable sharing it?
Yeah.
So I mentioned to you earlier I'm trying to remember what he called it, but let's just call it the 10 step to a million, right? So right now I'm actually just focusing on progressing on these steps, right? So at the moment I don't make 10K per month, and neither do I make a consistent triple, like 3 figures per month, right? I just started with 100 per month, then moved to 200, then moved to 400, and I'm just expanding from there. So it's all really a process. And I remember when I was running my agency and I was super frustrated. Like I had a goal to hit 10K per month ASAP, right?
Yeah.
But then since then, I've realized that the goal in life is not to get success, it's to get better.
Yeah.
And that's why
Better than
lately
yourself.
I've just been focusing on improving and reaching my next milestone
Yeah.
instead of getting caught up in chasing the big thing,
Yeah.
Most creators fail to make 10K per month or even their first $100 because they're too focused on making their first million.
Yeah. 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 I think also a lot of people on Twitter are promoting this, like Lambo by 25 and things like that. I don't
Yes.
believe that those things are possible. Like you have to work hard to get there. Like a lot of people are even promoting that it's very easy to get rich, but I don't think that. Do you think those people are right?
I believe it's potentially simple, but not easy. Certainly not easy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's simple in the sense that if you never give up and you keep pursuing your
Yeah.
curiosities and you show up each day and you take the action, you will make it as long as you have a computer or a phone and Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
most of
Yeah.
us do. Thankfully, we're fortunate. But it's certainly not easy, right?
Yeah.
And I personally don't really resonate, or my values don't align with the people who do flex their Lambos or say, this is
Yeah. Yeah.
easy. Because, what good are you doing in the world by flexing that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Rather, I think it's much better to just use and leverage your success to inspire others rather than to flex.
Yeah.
For creators looking to build a purpose-driven business, what one key piece of advice you would give?
I would say, above all, I'll give 3 layers of advice, right? Number one, never quit. Because
Yeah.
once again, if you do not quit, you cannot lose. Number two, I would say just follow your purpose. Like try to find what it is, and your purpose is your reason why, and that does not come from looking into the future at what you want, because that's what, right? What do you
Yeah.
want, not why. Why is why you exist and what your purpose is. So I recommend doing the Ikigai exercise. It's a Japanese concept where you combine what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs, right? And then follow your purpose. And then third of all, have curiosities and follow your curiosity.
Yeah, I think following your curiosity is the most important thing.
Yes.
How can listeners connect with you or learn more about your work?
So I'm on X primarily, although I am building on YouTube. It's more of a long-term vision. I'm not focusing on YouTube right now. You can find me on X at Fabian Bogun, no spaces.
Yeah, I will just add the link in the description. It was very great
Lovely.
having you, and I learned a lot
Like,
of things from you. Yeah, thank you a lot.
honestly, thank you so
Yeah.
much, man. It's been incredible talking to you. It's
Yeah.
been a huge pleasure, and I genuinely wish you all the best.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
I also wish you all the best.
Likewise, you
Yeah.
inspire me, man.